and that's working well with people. It's having the qualities of kindness and respect, and that not just for the fellow city council members, but people that are colleagues, that work in the county or on other boards that we participate on. So it's respect for those individuals and respect for the members of the public who come before us. It seems so basic, but it's hard to find those qualities in people. That's what I've noticed. And based on what we saw at the podium, and based on, actually, there were only, I think, 2 candidates or 2 applicants who demonstrated a link between their experience, their prior experience, and how they would apply that experience to being on the city council, and that was Mr. Graff and Ms. Landis. The other applicants, in my view, sort of made general statements about what we need, like, good sidewalks and economic development, but weren't concrete, didn't demonstrate exactly how that would be done, or how what they have done in the past would enable them to do that on the city council. But in my view, between those 2, there's one candidate who who demonstrated from their written material and from what they said on the podium that they meet all the criteria, and that's Ms. Landis. And so I would like to nominate Ms. Landis to fill the seat.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Time for more discussion? Is there any more discussion? I want to say something about, I agree with Councilmember Roden regarding the 2 finest applicants tonight. John Graff is in attendance at our meetings more than any other citizen that I'm aware of, other than Dottie Copeland, who didn't apply for the seat tonight. And he has demonstrated his commitment and concern, and he's always very articulate and civil when he makes a recommendation and suggestions to the council. And I have come to appreciate very much his being at the council meetings, and I encourage Mr. Graff to run for city council at the next election. But I will support the motion because I agree with those who argued that we want to find somebody who's closest and who could most closely represent the vision of John McCowan. And since he had appointed Mary Ann Landis to the Planning Commission, I think that's a significant indication. I'm also convinced that Leadership Mendocino does not graduate a huge number of participants with a socialistic perspective. So,
can I add something? Can I just?
Yes.
I just want to say real quickly that I want to second the positive remarks about Mr. Graff, that he has demonstrated a real commitment to caring about the community. And we don't always agree on everything, but I really, truly respect the time and that you spend and the viewpoints that you bring. I think it's necessary, and I just wanted to add that.
Hypothetical question. Does that mean that if I were to resign this seat, that you would place Mr. Wetzel in my place?
Well, I think there are 2 or 3 or 4 people who applied tonight who share your vision.
Taking your, taking your words and turning them into a mirror.
The other thing I'd like to say is that I appreciate everyone applying. I think it was disappointing that we didn't have an election in the last go-around when there was a general election that was significantly contested for supervisor, but only the 2 incumbents applied or filled out the papers to run this last time. And given that we have campaign finance reform in the city that does indeed allow virtually anybody to have a shot at becoming a member of this council, I would hope that in 2 years that we have a significant number of people as candidates, and I appreciate the fact that so many people are here tonight. It's amazing. Generally, we're making decisions with a room with Dottie Copeland and John Graff and about 10 members of the city staff here, and it's great to see you all here. I hope we have a contested election in 2 years. And is there further discussion?
I'm not sure that Mr. Crane's question was answered, but
I said there were a minimum of 2 and as many as 4 who shared Mr. Crane's vision.
okay.
Wasn't the question I asked.
But shall we proceed, or do you insist on an answer, Mr. Crane?
The question in and of itself.
Okay. I'd just like to add some other aspect to this. A number of people spoke to me prior to this evening saying, you were elected to use your judgment. And some of the arguments that have been put forward say that there's maybe a kind of formulaic way to approach this, which would involve looking at the results of the last election. I understand the value of that, and I think I'm saying what I said about 2 weeks ago or whenever it was. But the judgment question, and also the question about the quality that Steve Zweibach raised about someone we can work with. I don't have serious issues about working with any of the 7 candidates. The experience question is a factor, but for me, Ms. Landis has demonstrated an ability to work with the entire community in very constructive and positive ways. And I think that would continue here on the council.
If there's no further discussion, roll call, please.
Councilmember Thomas.
Aye.
Crane.
I think this is important that we be united, so I will vote yes.
Roden.
Yes.
Mayor Baldwin.
Yes. Meeting is adjourned.
No, we have to swear in.
Oh, do we need a swearing in?
Yes, we do.
We
Or
do.
can that come before the next meeting?
It could come before the next meeting. It doesn't have to happen
It's
tonight.
not on the,
Are we going to do
Yeah.
it tomorrow,
Agenda.
Wednesday at the...
It isn't?
no.
Yes, it is.
Oh, we can do it.
I was so busy.